Hello, my name is Jake. Today I'm making a video to talk about those who shed innocent blood. In the last video I made, I talked about a girl named, her name was Vera Jo Regal. I come across her story. It's one of the most horrific stories I've ever heard, to be honest. You can look it up on your own time if you want to, but basically she moved into Sherry Brooks' house dating one of her sons, and they pretty much just wanted her for the baby, and they ended up doing all kinds of horrific abuse. They stabbed her and a bunch of different stuff, and they wound up murdering her. And unfortunately, only a couple of them actually went to jail. Now, they all partook of the abuse, but only two of them, the ones they convicted for the murder, actually went to jail. And the truth is, I think that any form of violence and abuse should be illegal. People should be arrested for any kind of abuse, because, that stuff hurts people too. But, just reading through her story, it was one of the most horrific things I've ever heard of in my life. I always thought that I had an abusive childhood, but I endured nothing compared to what she went through. And the worst part of this story was this girl was actually someone who had mental issues. They said she was 24, but she had the mind of a child. So I don't know if that's autism or what that is, but she had mental issues. And to think that a family could sit there and abuse and torture somebody with a mental problem, it is so it infuriates me, to be honest. And the reason I deleted my last video where I talked about it is because I got a little bit too angry, and I said some things that I probably shouldn't have said as a follower of Jesus. But these stories really just they strike a nerve in me, and they lead me to a lot of anger. All right, so I probably ain't going to focus that much on stories like this on this channel. I'll probably just stick to doing preaching for the most part. But I did want to shine light on this just because they said that Sherry Brooks didn't even go to jail. And, it's well believed that she took part in a lot of the abuse. And there was a lot of the other ones that didn't go to jail too. And it's sad that sometimes the American court system fails us in getting justice, And obviously, as a Christian, I believe that we should love our enemies, but at the same time, I also believe in discipline. The Bible teaches discipline, and I believe that the law disciplines criminals when they do wrong. And I think it's good for the criminal, actually, to be disciplined. I don't think it is good or healthy for a society to let people by with their crimes. There's just so many horrific stories of, children and different people getting murdered and killed and tortured. And oh my goodness, I've come across stories on the internet that make me want to throw my head in the car and slam it on my head. It's so horrific. And, this is the world we live in. And it's really sickening. I like to just kind of live in a bubble, where I don't know about the things that's going on in the world, and I just play with my cats and have a peaceful life. But, the internet allows us to be able to hear about a lot of stories that we wouldn't normally hear about. And it really gives me a high respect for God to know that He sees all this stuff all the time, and He can stay true to Himself even in all of the chaos and stuff. Because I'll be honest, it's hard for me sometimes. This is the topic that strikes a nerve for me more than any other one. It is hard for me to stay consistent with a godly character when I come across stories like that. Because the love and the compassion and the empathy you have for the people that are hurt or wronged makes you want to get justice. But the Bible says we're not to take revenge into our own hands, because if we go and we get revenge on people, we end up being just as evil as they are. So we have to let God, because only God is truly just and fit to get revenge on people. And, he will, you know. I've even experienced discipline for things I've done in the past before. So, yeah, nobody will get away with anything. They might get away with murder as far as the law goes, but nobody's going to ultimately get away with anything because, you'll pay for the stuff you do one way or the other. So I just kind of wanted this video just as a replacement for the other one because I was so angry in it. But yeah, RIP to the woman that was killed in these scenarios and all these people that get killed. And, I just get sick of the government letting murderers out on a plea deal. It's just not fair. God bless.